What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Beluga Podcast. It's been a bit of a wait since our last one, but that just means this episode's going to be that much better. We've had so much shit happen in the last week alone, much less the last month. So without further ado, we're just going to dive right into kind of our analysis of where Bitcoin and the other majors are sitting at, what it kind of looks like in the short term, what we're thinking with the halving coming up. So I'll let Chris take it away.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, we can start with just looking at the majors. I think that's always a good place to start and just do a quick 2 minutes there. Let me share my screen really quickly. Long story short, it's been crazy. Actually, we're about, a couple weeks out from when we last talked, but let's see if we do the daily here. I don't know where we were last time, but we very quickly kind of bounced off this area and just sprinted to all-time highs. And so we passed 69, we went up to 70. Then the last few days we've dipped back down, and we came back down to 62-ish, and the timeline was incredibly bearish. Everyone thought we're going back to zero. And of course, in classic crypto, we then went right back up to the highs again. So, it looks like we're chopping a little bit here, right? But I think it's been incredibly good performance between Bitcoin. ETH had a great run up too. Right, of course, it up back down, but still we hit 40-ish. Sol has been going absolutely nuclear, right? We've really seen Sol go up to 200-ish, and of course hit some resistance but come back down, but not quite all-time highs for Sol. Is that right? I don't remember.
I was going to say, I still stand by my prediction that Solana will never hit another all-time high in terms of price. They're at all-time high in terms of market cap right now, I think.
Oh, really? I guess supply's different or something?
Yeah, such a shame, when you inflate your own circulating supply by 16% every year, it's harder to pump the price. It's funny how that works.
Math. Oh, God, good. But yeah, I mean, I think, look, overall, it's been incredibly strong. This was what? Late February. Yeah, okay, so I think this is the last time we recorded, right around here. So we've just gone straight up. We've gone back down a little bit up again. But it's been very strong for majors over the last few weeks. But we're heading into a bit of resistance. And I think it's natural stuff, right? Because, one, we're in March. March is always a bit of a crazy month because we're leading into tax season, right? And so people naturally are selling a little bit and taking some profits and coming up. Also, like all-time highs are always sort of like a mental block to get over, right? And so 70K is a big number. So I think we're kind of just treading that line there. And then two is the halving is right around the corner. Halving is April 20th. Is that right, Will? I don't remember exactly when it is.
420.
420, exactly. Okay, so the halving is April 20th, and so people, I think, are just a little skeptical because usually the halving is a big dump event. Usually you sort of like lead into the halving, and as it happens, we realize, oh, nothing's changed, it's the same shit, and people dump. And then, of course, later do we realize, oh, actually, it happened, that we reduced supply, and it's going to lead to the price, and things come back up. But that's kind of what it's been. Overall, very positive. I think right now is that time. I don't know how your chats will, but I think with Bitcoin and ETH and Solana going the way they are, my chats have exploded with a bunch of normal people in crypto, normal people not in crypto, coming back to saying, "Well, should I buy? Should I buy? Should I buy?" And I'm like, "Well, that time was a little bit ago. Now's the time to maybe take a little bit off the table, or just sit in spot and be happy with it." And so, yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's that moment where things are flipping a little bit, and I usually get a little bit nervous when a bunch of my normie friends are texting me about crypto, and so it feels like we're in that moment. And I don't know where it goes from here. I bet my take is I think we chop around for a little bit. We're looking a little bit not quite as strong now. I think the attention's floating to alts and hang in there. And so I think it's going to stay strong. I don't think we go back to 20 or 30. I think Bitcoin and ETH are clearly going to stay very strong. But do we kind of teleport to 100? Probably not in the next couple weeks. But I still think if you zoom out, I'm still incredibly bullish. I think this year we hit 100, no question, for Bitcoin. And so right now, as things chop, I tend to think the answer is very simple. When I see a big red day, I buy. As simple as that. And try not to think about it too much. And that's basically proven to be a fairly good way to do things over the last few. So I don't know. That's kind of my take on the majors right now. I think we are at the highs. You should be a little bit careful, right? Because things are definitely at a local high. But overall, I think we're still in a very good spot. And so wait for nice red days, load up, and just keep holding. And probably don't fuck around with leverage too much and just keep in spot. But yeah, Will, what do you think about what's going on with the majors?
Yeah, I just add a little bit onto that. I think as far as Bitcoin specifically goes, I'm totally in the same boat as you. I wouldn't be surprised to see some chop around. I would say so basically when I say majors, it really just means Bitcoin and ETH, I guess. But I think Bitcoin is kind of chopping around. I think ETH. We could pull up the ratio, but it's not super important. The point I'm making is that ETH is still sitting way, way, way behind Bitcoin's run up for this year. We can see it on the ratio here. We're sitting right at the bottom of basically the lowest this ratio has been since like mid 2021.
Yep.
This kind of feels like the spot for ETH to really bounce for me. I've been saying this for a long time, so I hope I'm right this time. But I'm buying ETH again here. It's been a couple months since I started buying, or since I stopped buying rather. But I
Definitely.
started buying again. Yeah.
It feels good. I'm definitely buying it too. I think it's in a good spot. Bitcoin, we'll see, but like, there's just good catalyst ahead of ETH. There's good news coming out, and so it makes total sense. Blobs
Yep.
came through, and so was the whole thing. So
Yeah. The blobs thing was cool too. And yeah,
yeah,
we'll get into. I guess this is a good segue actually. ETH Layer 2's popping off recently has been a big reason why I've decided to start buying again, and kind of the biggest name, at least among like the crypto degens myself, has been Blast, which had something like $2.8 billion or something locked on it before it launched. We're now about a month into mainnet, and I think that number has stayed about the same, which a lot of people were expecting liquidity to kind of slowly trickle off since it had been locked there for months. But I think pretty much the opposite has happened. Yeah, we can see the numbers in a sec. But
this is
yeah, so
deposit only.
2.6. So it's stayed about the same. Which just to give everybody
There
like
we
a
go.
reference of
1.8.
how much the market has moved. When Blast was first announced, I like to do like spreadsheet estimates of what things will be worth when they're first announced and see how close I can get. And my bull case for TVL in November was, I think, 1.8 billion or something, and we passed that in the pre-sale. So anyway, Blast is like outperformed in my opinion. But along with that outperformance has been a ton of just ridiculous bullshit. Nothing bigger than what happened yesterday at time of recording, which was Munchables getting hacked for almost $100 million in Ethereum. So you may be asking yourself, what the fuck is a Munchable? I had the same question. I had never heard of it before last night, and I mean, I would consider myself way up there in terms of active traders, even on Blast. I had never heard of it. And I guess it's another Ponzi game. All the art is AI generated. I have no explanation for how they managed to raise this much money. But point of this story is these guys accidentally hired a developer from North Korea who baked a exploit into their contract and basically could have rug pulled it at any time. It's been live for 4 days, I think, and he chose last night to do it. And in doing so, this guy right here, in doing so, stole about $100 million in ETH. I have friends who would put a lot of money in there. This was like a really rough thing last night. The interesting outcome of it is that Pac-Man, who's the founder of Blast, showed his hand that he's actually able to freeze wallets. So the way this situation was remedied is the attacker's wallet was frozen. He wasn't able to send money in or out. He wasn't able to do anything with the money he had taken. So he was basically stuck and was forced to give the money back. So the interesting thing here is we all of us crypto guys like to talk a big game about decentralization and all these kind of basic tenets of like the cyberpunk movement. And then something like this happens, or a bunch of money is stolen. Maybe it's even your own money. And nobody gives a shit about decentralization anymore. because the ability to freeze somebody's wallet like this is obviously not decentralized. Now, personally, I think it was the right decision, and I would have done the same thing. I'm not knocking them for doing it. I'm just saying I think it's interesting to see like reactions to this.
Totally.
Because they were getting a ton of shit for not being decentralized even a couple weeks ago. And then this happens and everybody's, fully on board with it.
Totally. I mean, you can see them from the tweets here. Like there was maybe 7, 8 hours, 10 hours in between the hack and actually remedying the situation. And it was quiet from the Blast folks, at least like publicly. And so the timeline went nuts with everybody speculating on what to do. And you can see the tweets here. It's a bunch of these, a bunch of CT, a bunch of influencers saying, well, there's only this, like, it's a huge deal. You have to either roll it back, which is fucked because then it's not decentralized, or you don't roll it back and you lose the money, which is also fucked, And then, I mean, in my head, it was always a very straightforward answer. You have to get the money back. It's not even a question, And just like you said.
So I thought they were going to do a bounty, to be honest. I didn't realize that they had this, like, power to just freeze a wallet. I don't think anybody knew that. So they kind of revealed that hand, which, for the record, I think is a good hand to have heading into a bull market with normies and stuff. Like, you need some way to get people's money back. It's not going to work if we're losing people's life savings like this.
Yep, agreed. But it was funny, just like you said. Everyone was like, was all fucking nervous about decentralization and this and that and that. And the minute it rolled back, we've all moved on, and people are back to gambling. There's literally zero difference, and nobody gives a shit. It turns out decentralization is important, but not as important as your own money. And so it is funny to see that. But look, I think it's bullish for Blast. Like, one, the truth is they dominated the timeline yesterday. If anything, I think it's a bullish event for them. Like, at the end of the day, it's more press, it gets more people in. The fact that you don't lose money on Blast anymore means you should be even safer to throw more money in. And so I think, honestly, ultimately, if Pac-Man stays winning, and it's all good for Blast. And so if you are doing anything right now, Blast certainly feels like a good place to spend time, both for farming and the airdrop and all this kind of stuff, So, by the way, this is a random tweet from Zach about the event that Will sent me earlier that I thought was fucking hilarious and just had to show it. Oh man, that's good. Okay.
Crazy.
Gotta throw it a like. Anyway, moving on. Maybe shifting to more on-chain stuff. Another thing that happened the last week or two before was Solana pre-sales, and maybe to show or give us an example. It's been nuts. I mean, basically, I kind of forget where this started. Oh, it was Bohm. Where you were able to basically send out a tweet saying, send money to this wallet address, and we'll launch, publicly, and it's a pre-sale, and it's just like a super basic thing. There's nothing to it. Here's an address, here's a contract, send money to it, and then we'll tell you nothing, and you figure out everything else after. I'm looking for these tweets and how it looks, but it's a very classic tweet. Pre-sale, percentage LP, percentage for protocol, and then we go from there. And the crazy thing was people raised an insane amount of money. And this has all happened very quickly. And the reason was Bohm. Bohm launched, and in 2 days from start to finish, went from 0 to, I think it was $1.5 billion in market cap. So very, very fast, minting a ton of money very quickly, and got listed on Binance. Is that what happened? I think Binance Futures, maybe.
Yeah. So Binance, no, I think fully listed. Binance owns. So it's actually interesting. The way they were able to make that happen is they gave Binance half of the entire supply.
Nuts.
But yeah, no, crazy. I have never. I don't think I remember ever seeing a token go over 1 billion that quickly, and it's now happened like multiple times in the last 2 weeks.
Yep, and it just really catalyzed this whole thing where it's like, well, look, you can really put out a tweet basically with nothing else and raise a bunch of money, and if you do it right, it becomes $1 billion in 2 days. Unfortunately, that was kind of the start and end of it. I mean, it's still a thing, but Bohm was definitely by far the biggest success story. And there were a bunch after here where you look at, maybe Smol or some of these things and go all the way down the list. A lot of money was raised. I mean, this is the total Sol raised. I think Smol was $30 million. I can't remember, right?
I think it was 22, something like
22,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money that got sent out very quickly, and people launch these tokens. For the most part, they've done pretty so-so. I don't think they've done super well, and it's mostly because I think one, it's turned out they've all had trouble launching, and it's been problematic. It turns out it's quite hard to do. Solana was super congested, right? And so it's just hard to get things going. I think Radium and Orca and some of these liquidity pools were having a very poor time handling, and you just saw the same thing with every token. They would try and launch and have a bunch of issues getting this out, doing airdrops, and it was the teams trying to do the right thing, and it was just hard to use. But the community is, obviously foaming at the mouth for $1 billion. And so everyone's going nuts trying to make this thing happen. And it only adds further pressure to it, right? And makes it worse. And so it's one of those things where you have it. And then, of course, the longer it goes, the minute you do launch, the sell pressure is immense because now everyone has money in this thing. And so people start to dump. If you raise $30 million, as a simple example, that means you have at least $30 million of people who want to sell, and so you have to launch at a much higher price to even keep it neutral. And so that's the challenging thing with this type of stuff. Now we'll see. I mean, the good news is a lot of these folks kept, a good amount of the money. In order to build the project, right? To provide liquidity for market makers, for exchanges, or to put stuff out there. So we'll see where it goes. I think, the good news, I don't think we've seen many outright rugs yet. Most people have followed through on what they're supposed to do. And so whether or not they'll be good tokens is a different question. But it is funny to see, we had this, it is very crypto, right? One thing comes out and does incredibly well, and 50 follow it instantly, and everyone's chasing it, and usually the winner wins, right? And everything else follows. It's not quite as good, but we'll see where this thing goes. But I mean, Will, you said you saw, I thought this was over, but you said you saw a few of them still coming out there.
I don't know what the ticker was today, but I just saw a tweet that was like Solana pre-sale raises $20 million in an hour. It's still happening.
Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, to your point, look, Bohm worked because not everybody knew about it. It was up on Twitter publicly for everybody to see, but nobody knew it was going to $1 billion, obviously. So you didn't have all these people who, again, to Chris's point, literally just put money in it to sell it for profit as quickly as they can. It was more of a gamble with people who were more willing to maybe lose money on it because you didn't know where it was going. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. I'll take any excuse I can to kind of harp on Solana a little bit because it's just the way that I am. But the congestion on Solana was actually shocking. Radium, the top DEX, literally didn't work. I know from a couple teams that were working on these tokens that the Radium team was almost just not helpful at all. And
we saw this all over Twitter.
The interesting thing
people
to come
just
out of all
literally
of that,
trying to debug this real time, which is crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is exactly where I was going with this. So Vibu, who's the founder of Drip House, one of the biggest protocols on Solana, finally capitulated and tweeted out that Solana needs layer 2 networks, which is a conclusion that we in the ETH community came to a very long time ago. But Solana has been standing on this kind of monolithic, all-in-one blockchain design hill up until now. And seeing the congestion before we've even, it's their whole narrative is they're supposed to be the retail chain, and to have the chain breaking down before we have any retail doesn't necessarily bode very well for that. So it seems like layer 2s or something along those lines to try to scale Solana more is going to be necessary in the near future.
Totally, and I'm looking for this tweet, and I cannot find it right now. But if you look for Vibu, he has a tweet about how, look, it's an unpopular opinion, but Solana may need L2s to scale. Which is, I mean, it's just the truth, there's just not that many people using this stuff still on a relative basis to the consumer internet, and it's already tanking. And the importance is much higher, right? Because refreshing your YouTube video versus sending a bunch of money around is just a very different thing. So it's going to happen. And it is funny just to see Mert and a bunch of these folks go nuts, and immediately, start to say whatever about it. So it is funny, but I think, it is I think I'll say to Vib's credit, practical guy, gets it. And I don't think anyone knows this better than him. right? They Drip is an incredibly popular Solana project, and they do an insane amount of transactions, and so he knows it's better than anybody. And so when he says it, I mean, I think you probably got to take it at least very seriously that he knows what he's talking about.
As a bit of a transition here off of not my favorite subject, Solana, we can hit base, which happens to be where I've been focusing a ton of time over the last couple of months. So just to give a bit of background to anybody who's listening, Base is Coinbase's layer 2 that they launched sometime kind of late last year, or mid last year, it looks like.
Crazy.
And it got a lot of hype right at the beginning, but it launched during the bear market and was not a lot happening and kind of faded off. With the biggest app it had being Friendtech at the time, also pretty much dying. Yep. But with the market resurgence and Coinbase's actual stock price ripping like it has, and of course, most importantly, rumors of a Base token in the future. The Base network has been popping off. I was actually looking at like cross-chain bridge flows the other day, and a lot of the liquidity flowing to Base is coming from Solana and Ethereum. So for the past couple weeks and months, like the kind of mercenary liquidity rotation has just been between ETH and Solana almost exclusively, and now you can kind of see that on-chain pivoting a little bit towards Base. So yeah, we can see on the TVL chart here, it's been ripping. I know Aerodrome, which is currently the biggest app on Base, it's their DEX. I know the price of Aerodrome's token is up like 3,000, 4,000% or something this year. Yeah, Base has really been popping off, and it's fun to have like meme coins and fun stuff again back on the EVM ecosystem from Solana, because yeah, I'm a whole lot more used to EVM stuff. But
totally.
Yeah, Chris, I know you haven't been trading as much or as actively maybe recently, but what are you kind of seeing from I guess not the ground floor of shitcoining on Base?
Totally. I mean, I feel like you said, I think we're in this part of the cycle where meme coins are everything, And I really think also not just meme coins, but meme coins about anything, right? We've progressed away from dog coins and cat coins, right? Which was cool. And I love me a good dog coin. I still hold WIF. I still hold Bonk. I still hold a bunch of dumb shit. But like, we are now in the age of betting on all kinds of random stuff. And you'll see in a second in the name of these tickers. And I think it's a really positive development. I don't think it's a negative thing at all, honestly. One, it's hilarious and it's fun. That's part of it. Two, it's also, it really shows that like, crypto is an attention market, and it really shows that we are broadening beyond this tiny world. I think if we're going to go broader, the memes and the sort of the meme coins are just broader, and that means we can address a bigger audience. And so, just like you said, I think we had this cycle. We were just talking about Solana pre-sales, right? Those pre-sale meme, the Presale Meta, right? Which, again, it's that hot ball of money that came really from ETH, I think, right before, went over to Solana because Solana shitters were popping. Yeah, it's true, right? Everything is ETH. And it was on Solana ripping shit coins. And then now that's transitioning over to Base. And it was crazy to me that I feel like, again, I was a little bit less toad, but like, I feel like one day I woke up and it was all on Base. And like, that's all everyone was talking about. And everything was there. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if you have a sense, but I feel like that's what happened. Overnight, everything disappeared from Solana and went to Base.
I think one of the, like, yes, we're in meme coin meta right now, but really we're in like airdrop Ponzi farming meta.
Fair.
And all of that attention was taken up by other places. There are too many things to farm airdrops for. You have Eigen, you have a Blast, which is literally an entire chain dedicated to exactly that, and Base didn't really have anything. We had Friendtech again for a while, which was literally the only thing anybody used on Base because you could farm for the airdrop. And I think up until like Farcaster recently, which you may know better than me. I don't think Farcaster is like a new app. I think it's kind of old, but they just deployed on Base or something.
Yep, that's right. Farcaster
And
was exactly. They have their own little OP chain now, I think, right?
Yeah.
And or it's L3. I can't even remember, but you're right. Like basically,
Yeah.
Farcash was supposed to be a social protocol, and Warpcast is their first homegrown app built on their chain, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really just Twitter. But then in the recent weeks with the launch of Frames, which is like these little mini dApps within, I think dApps is a bit of a strong word for what they are, but like it's these little, you can click on a tweet.
So retarded.
Yeah, exactly. You can click on the tweet and it can do slightly more than expand now. And like that crazed a whole ton of fervor to Warpcast. But that, like you said, that's driven a lot of usage to base, and I think the shitcoining did just start.
Well, yeah,
I think you're right.
They have their
I think you're totally right.
The degen token. I think that's literally that simple. There's shit to farm now.
Exactly. I think you're totally right, by the way. It's like it's not Memecoin season, although it may appear that way. It's really airdrop farming season. And with the sort of with the base folks tweeting just in very obvious ways that there's going to be an airdrop. And for what it's worth, you've been calling this for a long time, right? So it's not like unknown either, but it wasn't quite as explicit as it is now, right? I think, like you said, I think everyone picked up. And once I think you squeeze it, you always stay where there's enough juice. But like once I think Presale Meta had come on Solana and racism meta sort of hit a little bit, I think you sort of look at it and say, okay, this feels a little bit toppy. It feels like we've squeezed the last bit out of this, the last bit of juice out of this thing. Let's all roll over to a new place and farm this stuff, because that's new. It's new pasture. It's green. It's, there's a lot we can do here. You can see here, like the tokens here have been going just nuclear. Normie's been a good one. That's the beauty of
airdrop farming season, right? Like, I think that's why it seems like it's meme coin season, because meme coins are almost like the strongest beta to big airdrops, because where do big airdrop liquidity, where does that flow to once it gets claimed?
Right, exactly.
This chart is ridiculous.
Beautiful chart, honestly. Just looks great. I mean, my God. Are you in this one?
No, I'm not. I missed this one.
Me neither.
There's too much shit going on. I'm honestly like, I'm fucking done with Solana. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I bridged my last Solana off. Oh, well, not true entirely. I have like a little bit, but
but it's a good chart. And degen, this is the base chart, right? Or this is the Warpcast token. I actually don't know how they're related. I don't think they're actually related, but like they're related by action, I think. Meaning like so as long as you do some things, you get airdropped.
You can tip the degen coin to people on the app. And I think that may literally be the only connection. Like it may actually be kind of like a Ton Telegram connection where it's like not built by the same team kind of thing.
Right. But things like this are what make people come over, for sure. And like you can see it's always funny to see what types of tickers go into a place. I think like ETH, it was like a very ETH community type stuff. You can kind of feel what those tickers are going to be. Sol has a certain flavor, and like Base is a certain flavor. You have Normie here, you've got degen, and like some of these tokens, and I think they're, it's not that different to be honest, but it is each community has their own vibe. It's like even if it's largely the same people, just just farming a new place, they have their own style, which is good. But yeah, I mean, look, this shit is ripping. I mean, it's a $500 million market FDV, $200 million market cap. I mean, this is a strong chart. And so we'll see where it goes. But yeah, it's been good. Like I would say, right now it feels like base season and blast season, right? Which is the nice thing is we're back to EVM L2s. We're back to ETH, and I think we've all had fun. We've all had fun in Sol, and it's time to come home. So, which has been great. And so it is cool to see, especially with blobs coming into play, right? The fee reduction and stuff and all that. And it does show that, like, look, the L2s are working. The story was always around scaling ETH through L2s, and it seems to be working. And also, I think the cool thing to see with this also is everyone always talks about one chain to rule them all, right? Or that used to be the story, right? Like, let's just do one chain and blah, blah, blah. We have so many chains now, and people are still it's still very fluid, which is awesome to see. People have no problem moving things around, bridging to a new chain or whatever. And maybe it's easier from certain ecosystems. Like living within the EVM ecosystem, I'm sure is easier, right, than doing the wormhole or the wormhole transfer over. But like still, it is cool to see that there's fluidity amongst this stuff. And I think this sort of multi-chain world definitely is becoming a thing, and you sort of seeing what was foretold, which is like, maybe ETH is a country, right? And then each of these L2s are maybe cities or whatever, right? And like, they all have their own style, their own flavor, and a lot of them share utilities and share things, and they might be the same, but like it's starting to happen, which is very cool to see, just because it really plays in this idea that we will be able to scale this thing, and there's going to be new things and new places, and there's a lot of unconquered land, in so many words, and undiscovered land. So very cool to see. So yeah, I would say right now, if you're like doing stuff, I think Base and Blast is where you go. Right, there's no question.
Agreed.
That's where the tokens are ripping. That's also where the best farming opportunities are, and also airdrops are coming. So if you're going to do anything, might as well do it somewhere where they're going to pay you to do things, right?
That's my ethos.
Nice, very good, cool. Well, speaking of like random shit, I guess we were talking about this earlier, and it's just hilarious to see. But maybe I'll give a bit of a primer for the listeners. So, Near Protocol it's an L1 from last cycle. It's made up of Romanians from Google that were all Google people before, so they're like classic Web 2 people. Yeah, they're like really. I think they're like they have good Web 2 investors. They're like they're from YC, I believe, and like just good strong engineers that are like Eastern Europeans, the classic Eastern European engineer. So very good folks, but like they never really had. The token ripped for a bit, but it never really had the same feel as the other alt L1s. Solana definitely came out on top, right? Phantom even had its own little thing, right? But like Near had its own thing, and like recently. They've done the sort of like 1,000 IQ brain move of like, let's just become an AI chain. And like, what the hell does that mean? I couldn't tell you. Do you know what that means, Will?
I actually didn't even know they had made this pivot until this picture.
So yeah, this is the whole AI chain. And then there was a conference the other day, and do they post the actual whole thing? Yeah, here we go. Where the founder of Near is sitting there, and Jensen Huang, the founder of NVIDIA, touched his arm, and it became a whole fucking thing at GTC, their conference. And it's just hilarious to see Near like live into this. They tweeted it out, which is hilarious enough.
So
not
ridiculous.
only that, they did a single tweet of this, which is really hilarious, and they changed their banners. And you said they're doing an NFT of this, is that right?
Yeah. I think scroll down a little. Yeah, it's right there.
Oh god.
Proof of
I think
touch.
that's honestly bullish, dude. That's bullish of them.
It's hilarious. Yesterday I saw a lot of people clowning him for it being cringe. Today it's like everybody's just like, this is fucking so funny.
Oh, well, I mean, look, the only way to see if it's working is checking this chart. Dude, Near's been okay, it's dipped a bit, but God, still, if you look at from Feb to now 1 month, it's been a good chart. So good for them.
Yeah, all
very
L1s
cool.
have been doing well. Aptos is up as well.
True. Aptos, another place to maybe farm. Aptos. Airdrop season's coming. Looks like things are heating up.
I feel like
nice.
The best time to farm was when the price was like $10, like a couple months ago. But it does seem like April's going to be a big month. I'm excited. I definitely put my hours in farming.
Nice. Good. Yeah, no, looks nice. Cool. Maybe shifting gears a little bit, and we can wrap up maybe with this 5-0 hour. Let's talk a bit about the cops and the rulings against crypto people and all that nonsense. Maybe starting out with let's see, ETH is a security apparently, right? Or actually, maybe this we can start with KuCoin. Just yesterday, there was KuCoin, a bunch of nonsense from them. I actually don't know what the hell happened, to be honest.
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny because like it's every bullish part of the cycle. It's the same thing. The SEC just fucking throws a bunch of shit at you. This time it's so actually okay. I'll amend that statement with the fact that many times the SEC is actually right, but in this case, this is probably another one of those times. I don't think anybody who's been in crypto for a while is surprised to hear the KuCoin guys were up to some sketchy shit. Like, Chris, I don't know about you, but I think we 100%. All knew this.
No
And
question.
I guess
It was-
the suit. So the suit is over. This is actually also hilarious. The suit is
Yeah, I
over
did actually
them
see this.
misrepresenting that they had U.S. customers. So when they got those big investments from I think it was Jump Trading, who eventually pulled out, but they told Jump and their other investors that they had no US based customers, right? Zero. Which, of course, like me sitting here right now, I was a KuCoin user, so I know that's not true. And numbers have later come out that it was something like 26% of their users were US based. So that's what this suit is over. That they were offering financial products or whatever to US-based customers intentionally, and misrepresented that to investors. But anyway, the SEC just loves to like throw a bunch of shit like right in a row. So this was kind of the first domino to fall. The interesting thing with this complaint is I actually think, was it a CFTC letter? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a
You're right.
CFTC letter regarding this case, where they allege all the complaints, etc. And then they go on to say that part of the offering involved commodities like Ethereum and Litecoin. So you have the CFTC like kind of staking their IP claim over ETH, and Litecoin is like, who cares about Litecoin? But like ETH, at least they're staking claim over in this like big turf war with the SEC.
Not bad.
But I think
Very
that
cool.
was exciting for people to hear.
That's great news,
I think
honestly.
pumped the price a little bit. But of course, this was a couple of days after the SEC came out and said they were investigating the foundation for issuing securities, and it's just a whole food fight. People throwing shit back and forth.
I didn't even see this until right now. I saw that tweet under the other guy. Is this fucking true? They're gonna do an airdrop right after this?
No
Did
way.
you see this?
No.
I saw this tweet like when I was searching for it, and I thought it was a scam tweet. And then I searched up this 2 hours ago. It said, turns out KuCoin's planning to do a $10 million airdrop of BTC and KuCoin to their users in the face of all this nonsense. Which is fucking legendary.
I mean, yeah, the fact that they said they had no U.S. customers, when I remember the sign-up process, there was no KYC or anything. Like
that's why everyone used KuCoin. That's why I use KuCoin, because you could just get in and do nothing.
Too, because it was the
only
one
they
I could use.
You stop using it,
Yep.
Oh,
exactly.
That's hilarious to do this airdrop.
As like a quick thought off the back of that, it would be awesome if we could legally, as U.S. residents, use an exchange that isn't dog shit. Like, if you're going to make it illegal for them to offer it to U.S. customers, at least give us, like, a good one. Just one. It's all we need.
I agree
Coinbase
with that.
sucks for trading, and for almost everything, honestly.
Coinbase is awful in general,
Yeah.
I would never use it. The fees are high. The experience sucks. You can't do any material trading on there. It's just an awful product for that kind of stuff. It's good for the normie, right?
It's getting better, I will say.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be really unusable. It's now semi-usable, but still. Like, I would love to have a good exchange.
Yep. On that note, Coinbase got hit a little bit today as well. I actually don't know what's going on here either. I just know it seems to be a little bit of FUD, which just means they have to go to court now over the staking stuff. Will, do you want to give us some background here?
I think this is just kind of a nothing burger. Again, they're just throwing a bunch of shit all at the same time. This is regarding a case, I believe, over there's a company called Gemini that went insolvent last year, which was an OTC trading desk, and they also facilitated a bunch of like staking and stuff. And Coinbase was wrapped up with them. Then there was all this stuff around is offering staking, some kind of security or financial product. So all this is saying is that case is actually going to court, and they're not just going to outright dismiss it. So it's like really just not that big a deal. It's just actually going to court, as everybody thought it would. But I will say, when I first read that like first tweet, I was definitely a little worried. But
I mean,
now knowing what happened,
guy.
it's okay. Oh yeah, he's a Chad.
You can't bet against this
guy.
Look
at all that bald.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
The surface area. How are you gonna compete?
It really is just incredible. So yeah, I mean, it was fun to also watch Coinbase just go from like everyone used to shit on them all the time for being such a fucking like normie thing that was like pretty lame and just like so fucking straight edge and all that stuff to now being like really helping crypto in many ways, and like really championing a lot of stuff going on. So awesome to see, but also just hilarious to see what's going on. Like, and also fun to see them lean into the degeneracy with launching a token with Base. I think they're firing on all cylinders, dude. They're doing a great job with whatever they are, and like I think I think coin reflects that. If you look at the stock price, that thing's ripping like mad too. So, very cool. Cool. Maybe we can wrap up and do our shill of the week.
Yeah, what's
Will,
your shill of the week this week? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I can start. Yeah, all right. My shill of the week is Pepecoin. Not to be confused with the whatever it is right now, 1 point something billion market cap Pepecoin that everybody's been talking about. This one is from 2016, actually. And if you know me and my trading style, I tend not to be very good at meme coins. It's not been one of my fortes historically. This, while it may look like a meme coin, is not entirely a meme coin. The interesting thing here is not only was it created in 2016, it's got all that, if you care about historical bullshit, which I don't really, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's had a crazy run up.
Holy shit.
This has been good to me for sure. But so attached to it is this upcoming layer 1 network called Based AI, which actually also has a token out already. It's also been pumping. But basically, Based AI is a AI layer 1 network that's trying to do decentralized compute, with the thesis being the financials, capital efficiency, computational efficiency, etc., of decentralized compute networks for AI models, whether it's like LLMs or whatever. Decentralized compute makes a lot of sense for a variety of reasons. One of the biggest issues with it is if you're a company, a big company that's doing that needs this kind of solution because you're doing so much using your LLM or whatever, you can't afford to have the data you're running through your LLMs like get out. You need it to be private. You need it to be secure. You can't just trust it to some decentralized network or whatever. So the idea with Based AI is to create a robust decentralized compute network while retaining similar privacy and security that you might find in like a centralized solution. Anyway, that was a long way of giving the chat, but I have been in Pepecoin since like 70 cents. This thing has been ripping. And I believe, so we have our first test net out for Based AI. I think it's like the dev net is what they're calling it. We have the next one starting in 2 weeks, and then mainnet launch is in about a month and a half from now. So anyway, I've been buying.
Is it just on ETH?
Coin. Yeah.
Or do you have to actually bridge over? Okay.
No.
I guess because mainnet's not out yet. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on. Actually, hold on. Let me send you the website link because it is fucking amazing. It's like actually potentially. It's just pepecoin.io. Actually, I can just tell you. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. Look at this shit.
Sick. Nice. This is a sick website. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's do.
Either way, you can connect if you want.
Actually, we'll just do as a guest. Fuck it. Nice.
Yeah, so it's like they recreated an entire like retro environment. You can like run all these games and shit off of it. It's crazy. Anyway,
awesome background too.
One of many reasons that I'm a big fan of this project.
That's hilarious. All right, I'll buy some Pepecoin.
I'm gonna write like an article about it as well at some point this week to detail it out. So if you're interested, for any listeners, keep an eye out for that.
Please. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
right, I'll play these
They
later.
literally have
But
GTA 1 running on their environment. It's crazy.
that's crazy. Nice. I like it. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, the AI chain is the exciting thing for me. And it's got there's a whole deflationary, Ponzi, burning, gamified, whatever the fuck involved too, which, is always fun.
Nice. All the right words.
Yep.
Good. I've been in RWA land recently, and so I'm going to shill some RWA nonsense. It's a company called Ondo. And Ondo is a tokenized treasuries product. So what they do is they take treasuries, which are 5% stable yields, they put them into legal wrappers and put them on chain so people can buy them and get a 5% yield on chain. It's always been a bit of a funny thing just because the truth is, if you look at their stats, they're not very impressive. It's, about 100 million TVL. If you look at their contract, it's maybe 45 holders. Because the rules of actually holding this are very, very high, right? You have to be you have to be KYC'd up, which nobody wants to do. You have to be a qualified purchaser, which requires, I think, $5 million liquid in your bank account or something like that. I kind of forget the rules, but it's very onerous to actually own this thing.
I didn't know that, actually.
It's very tough, right? All that being said, truth is, none of it matters. They raise money from BlackRock. And of course, Daddy Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, has been all about tokenization recently. And so when these guys went out to market, I think they came out in January around the same time as Manta. Yeah, we should look right here. So yeah, about January. Right? So mid-January, same time as Manta, at about $1 billion in FDV. So not that much. Now it's a bit of a low flow token, but about $1 billion. And ever since then has just been on an absolute tear, and all the way up to $9 billion. And really because Ondo is two things. One, you have this incredibly stupid meme, but hilarious. It says one Ondo buys you one condo. And people love seeing that. And so it's just become one of those, it's a reminder that these dumb mimetic things are incredibly important. The more anyone who's been in a TG group knows that you get a bunch of fucking morons to just say the exact same thing. I'm one of those morons, by the way, but everyone just repeats the same stupid shit over and over, and that's how things spread. I mean, it's a thing, and so one Ondo buys you a condo really helps cement this thing as a thing. And then two is, I think the real thing is ultimately because BlackRock they raised some money from BlackRock. This similar to WorldCoin, right? WorldCoin, because they raised money from Sam Altman and he's involved. Anything Sam does affects the WorldCoin price, right? When Sora came out, their new video model, right? WorldCoin went nuclear, right? When Sam got kicked out of OpenAI, WorldCoin dumped. And when he got reinstated, it went back up. This is the exact same thing. The only difference is they've got an incredible person behind them. They've got Larry Fink, who's on stage saying all kinds of crazy shit all day about tokenization. Now, it's not to say it's wrong, but it's just a Larry Fink proxy. And if you sort of zoom out and believe, is Larry going to say more and more shit about tokenization? It seems like he's going to, right? And just in the last few weeks, he took $100 million, put it onto Ethereum, which was a great moment for Ethereum, for what it's worth, and also just a great moment for tokenization. And then two, he's just been nonstop talking about. He invested in Securitize, he's bringing more stuff on, and so he's doing a bunch of stuff around this stuff that every time Larry says something, Ondo goes up. And so I think we may have hit a bit of a local top, perhaps. It's at a $10 billion token, which is just fucking ridiculous. But this is a real thing. I think it's going to stay. And I think they've done a good job of leaning into the Mimi part of this thing. And so it's been all the rage. We may be at a local top, but something to keep an eye out for, especially just over the cycle. I think if you get any strong pullbacks, it could be worth it. Anyway.
I mean,
cool.
I would think this is actually, it's funny you're shilling this because the newsletter on Monday, I actually shilled Ondo as well.
Oh, love it. Good.
But I think this should be good for a pretty widespread RWA beta play. I would expect Ondo's performance to really push on the rest of the RWA sector, to be honest.
I saw RWA. In price discovery.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, in price discovery. I think, look, almost $10 billion, almost $9 billion FDV is crazy. Let's be honest here.
Agreed.
But with that said, I think this kind of pump is the kind of shit that lights an entire sector or narrative, if you want to call it that,
totally.
for RWA. I would expect to see a lot of other shit rip. You could probably just go through the coin market cap RWA list and buy and see them all do pretty well, honestly.
Totally. I think you're exactly right. And historically, RWA has been not as pumpy. And so to see one actually go like this, I think, like you said, it really makes the whole market like light up. And so, if you've been following RWA tokens, which I have been, like they're all going fucking nuclear right now, which has been great to see. So, anyway, I just think it's a category worth paying attention to. I think a lot of people have not been paying attention, mostly because it's seen as like a less interesting thing. It's more of a bear market vibe to get into treasuries and real world assets. But with this with this right now and Larry, it gives us a bit of juice in the bull market as well, which is nice. So, anyway, cool. Well, look, that's it for us this week. Thanks for coming by and giving us a listen. We'll catch you guys next week.
Catch you next week.